Campaign finance disclosures for the first quarter of this year are slowly starting to trickle in as candidates get them filed, and one person who was pretty easily able to go ahead and submit their report because there's not much money on it was George Santos, the embattled Republican from New York, who is still under investigation from, I believe, 6 entities. He has, of course, worked out a deal with Brazilian authorities to where if he admits what he did, they're not going to charge him, so he doesn't have to worry about spending time in a Brazilian prison. But George Santos's campaign finance information is interesting because the guy actually reported negative contributions for the first quarter due to the fact that he had to pay out more money in refunds to donors than he brought in. Here it is from the Hill. Santos's campaign received $5,333 in individual contributions, but spent $8,353 in refunds to individual donors. So he had to pay out $3,000 more than he brought in. It also makes a note of the fact that even though he's got, like $750,000 in loans, he didn't report any loan payments during the first 3 months of this year. So either he's not paying his debts or oopsie, he forgot to report it. Now, I could sit here for the next 20 minutes laughing at the guy for having to pay out more money than he brought in because people wanted their money back for sending it to a fraud, but instead, I want to know who the $5,333 came from. Who are the people in this country over the last 3 months? Because George Santos's problems, like the revelations about all of his lies, started in December. Okay, so for this entire year, that entire quarter, January, February, and March, everybody knew that the guy was a serial liar. So who the hell are these people who thought, but you know what, I know he's lied about everything, and, the grandparents of the Holocaust and his mom on 9/11 and all of that, but you know what? I'm still going to send him a check. I don't know. It's just something about, who are those people? Because apparently they exist. They're real. And who are they? Please identify yourselves, because I would love to have a chat with you and just figure out, you explain to me what was going through your head when you watched all of this news about George Santos, when you saw all of the investigations erupt, and you're like, but I'm still going to send him money. So if you're one of those people who gave him money, please reach out to me. Again, we can talk off the record. I just want to understand better what's going through your head, because that just seems ludicrous to me. Here's the other problem I have with George Santos. News about George Santos has pretty much disappeared. And the problem I have with that is not that, hey, we're not finding new scandals. Look, he's got plenty to deal with. He's got plenty of investigations. But George Santos has disappeared from the headlines. Granted, there's other news out there that's a little more important at the time. But it worries me because voters forgive and forget. The longer away something was, the more voters are able to rationalize it in their brains. So in 2024, they might be looking at this and saying, yeah, he did all those things, but clearly he learned his lesson. He went on and he sponsored legislation that I actually like. So you know what? He's not a bad guy. People will think that. There are people, obviously, probably the same people who gave him money, that will start to think that, folks. That's the problem. And if you think I'm wrong about that, let me remind you that the party that supported an insurrection against the United States of America on January 6, 2021, still won back the House of Representatives a year and a half later. So I'm not wrong. I warned y'all, through that whole time, voters will eventually forget and forgive. And it happened. So I have no reason to think it couldn't also happen with George Santos, which is why we kind of need to keep that on our radars, that this man is a fraud. He might be a literal criminal fraud, depending on the outcome of those investigations. So let's not let people forget just how horrible this guy really is. Hey everyone, This is Aspen. And did you know that for the low, low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel? We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.